I just thought I would make a quick response video to FD Signifier's video that he made about the Shedeur Sanders draft. FD Signifier is a YouTuber who I've been watching, and he's actually really good at what he does. He does what I do, but he does it at a much higher level. This man is very, very knowledgeable. He's very wise, and I like watching his videos, though every now and then he'll come up with a take that I just kind of feel misses the mark. And I think he missed the mark with this one in his most recent video titled "The Shedeur Sanders Situation is Worse Than You Think" or something like that. And I heard that and I just thought it was kind of strange. Now, I don't know how much college football FD Signifier watches. I watch a lot of it. Like, I'm an Oregon Ducks fan, but I watch any game. Like, I probably watch more college football than I do NFL, and I watch any game if I think it's gonna be a good game. Like, oh, Alabama's about to face Ohio State. Oh, cool, I'll check that out. Oh, Florida State's gonna take on Miami. Cool, I'll check that out. You know, if it's a good game, I'll watch it, and that's how you learn about a lot of these players. But one of the most controversial figures that's been coming up in the college rankings is Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders, who played for Colorado these last 2 years. Now, I normally don't make any sports videos, but there was something that happened that I thought was kind of interesting. Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes, and he is most notably Deion Sanders' son. And there is no doubt about it that he is definitely one of the most promising prospects out of the 2025 draft. Early on in his college career, Shedeur Sanders was projected to go at least in the first round, with some people even putting him first overall. However, that was before the emergence of Cam Ward. And Cam Ward, by all measures, you watch the tape, is a much better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is definitely very talented, and he should be credited for what he did at Colorado, but there's a couple of extra elements to that story. The Colorado story was a story that the media really laid into this story back in 2023 when Deion Sanders, who is really good at bringing attention to himself. That's how Coach Prime has always been. That's how Prime has always been. His name is Prime Time. Even in the 90s, Deion Sanders was very much a competitive, outspoken person. We'll just leave it at that. And his son Shedeur isn't very different in terms of attitude. But make no mistake, Shedeur is a talented quarterback. But it does not surprise me the way it surprised FD Signifier that he slid in the draft. In fact, there's a moment where I thought he probably will not get drafted. He will probably be picked up in free agency.
New York traded back into the first and didn't select him. That means that Cleveland was on the clock twice in the first round, didn't select him. It meant that New Orleans didn't select him. They were on the clock. It meant that Pittsburgh didn't select him. They were on the clock. It means the Giants executed a trade to get back on the clock. They didn't select him. At that point, I knew right then he was viewed as a backup. And once you're viewed as a backup, now it actually becomes more about your personality than it does your play.
Right.
And I think that was the case with Shedeur Sanders. That's 100%, at least in my estimation, what happened. And I don't buy at all, not for 1 second, that there was some sort of overarching collusion amongst the ownership of the National Football League to teach him a lesson. I don't believe that that was the case. This is too competitive an industry where everyone's trying to get a leg up. If they viewed him as a starter, they would have selected him in the first 21 picks of the draft.
Once this happened, the media darling of Shedeur Sanders was not being drafted. The main story of the draft became, who's gonna draft Shedeur Sanders? There was whispers about how it was collusion and that it was racism that somehow kept him out of the first round. But I've been watching college ball, and this guy is very cocky, and maybe a little too cocky for the skill level that he currently has. While he's definitely a talented player, he kind of pans out average at best. So FD Signifier thinks that it was racism and him acting up too much, and you can't do that in a white league. But in reality, that kind of behavior of being super cocky and showing up in like a Lamborghini and trying to make demands before you've even been drafted, and having your dad say things like, I don't want my son to go play for the Browns. There are some teams that he can't play for. It just seemed like you were drafting a diva. You were drafting too much. It seemed like too much problems. And these GMs and coaches do not want a guy like that. They want an employee. These guys were hired to draft correctly, and they want to keep their multi-million-dollar careers too. And to do that, they have to make sure their selections are correct. And when somebody acts very cocky but has average stats, that's just what's gonna happen.
a couple teams that I won't allow him to play for. This is my profession. I know what's behind the curtain. We ain't got to get back there for me to understand what's not prominent for my son. I'm not doing it. Ain't
And
no
if he
way in the world.
doesn't listen to you?
Who? No, you must mean owners.
If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't give me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people gotta say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like, it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like diversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
That's what I smell. I smell it. And as we can see, my nose is pretty large. Even though I got allergies, I can still smell well enough. I know what I'm smelling when I'm smelling it. Shedeur Sanders, 5th round pick. Really? Stephen A. Smith Show in the house.
And while I understand the claims of racism because I've seen the NFL do racist things before and then pretend to care, and the reality is they really don't care. They just have a league where like 80% of the players are pretty much black, and sometimes they'll make some decisions that are very interesting. But let me put it this way. If FD Signifier's claim of racism is for real, then it must have been perfectly placed because I didn't see it. What I saw was a cocky player who is highly overrated, make a bunch of demands, and it turned a lot of people off. So maybe it gave him a good reason. The Cleveland Browns were looking at Shedeur Sanders, but when Deion Sanders said, hey, don't draft my son, they were thinking, okay, maybe I shouldn't draft Shedeur Sanders and I should go with somebody else. A claim by FD Signifier that I feel was incorrect. Now again, I don't know how much college football he watches. I watch pretty much all of it every year for the last 25 years. And I can tell you that I've watched these games, and Shedeur Sanders is a great quarterback, but I think Cam Ward is better than him. I think Jackson Dart is better than him. I think Quinn Ewers is better than him. I think Jalen Milroe is better than him. Okay, maybe not Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck is weird. Tyler Shuck used to play for the University of Oregon, but he got benched after throwing way too many hero ball interceptions. And Dillon Gabriel, claiming that Dillon Gabriel is not a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. Dillon Gabriel tore it up for Oklahoma and tore it up for Oregon, and even finished 3rd in the Heisman race. Had one of the best accuracy ratings, and this man was dropping dimes for the Oregon Ducks. Even led the Oregon Ducks to become the #1 ranked team in the nation for like 70% of the season. But yet Dillon Gabriel is the one that somehow doesn't get looked at in the same light. No, there's gonna be a quarterback competition between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. I think Dillon Gabriel is probably gonna outshine him. But at the end of the day, I do not think racism had anything to do with it. Yes, the NFL can be guilty of doing stuff like that. Taking the whole end racism out of the end zones is all quiet and sneaky, like nobody saw that. But I don't think this was the case. This was a case of a cocky kid who got drafted and treated as such. I do believe that his talent level is 5th round talent. He's a backup quarterback. Truth of the matter is, when Shedeur Sanders led Colorado to a 4-8 season, people stopped paying attention because that was mediocre. And you can't tell me, oh, well, Colorado was 1-11 the previous season. Well, guess what? Deion Sanders brought pretty much, what, an entire football team with him? So Deion Sanders gutted and replaced that entire team, and what they put together, I mean, it's better, it's 4-8, but it's still mediocre and people stopped paying attention. And while he did better the next season after that, again, people stopped paying attention. People especially stopped paying attention when Colorado ran into the Oregon Ducks, and the Oregon Ducks tore them up something like 42-6. 42-6. Shedeur Sanders only managed 6 points in that game. That's pretty bad. And against a defense like Oregon, which definitely isn't on an NFL level, but a lot of those guys just got drafted to the NFL. So who knows? But either way, I think Shedeur Sanders got what he got, and he deserved what he got. And I hope in the future more people get humbled. Getting humbled is a good thing. It is not a bad thing. It's like vitamins. It's like Flintstones vitamins. Remember that? It's good for you. But anyways, those were my thoughts. Again, I got nothing but respect for FD Signifier, but I think he missed the mark on this one. I don't think he'll respond back just because I'm irrelevant. But either way, thank you for watching.